Recording, by the way, Stacy.
Was oppressed by this man her entire life because of the patriarchy.
Yeah, she doesn't realize the heteronormative patriarchy was raping her with PIV the entire time.
That's right.
Stacy,
Your great-grandmother was a victim of the heteronormative patriarchy.
okay, Stacy, by the definition, by the definition of our friends on the left, has modern society and modern liberalism social standards turned the greatest generation and all the generations that preceded them, that they considered, that they honored, into bad parents who spanked their and yelled at their kids, oppressive husbands who opposed their wives, and just horrible, and so horrible that they did not have the brains to see that the Bible actually endorses behavior that every biblical scholar thought was bad for 2,000 years before that. How is it that all of these great people that we call the greatest generation were so unenlightened and so ignorant?
What I like to say is, go look at that famous painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware River, right? Look at those soldiers in the boat, in the snow, crossing the river to fight the British. And look at that, and it's a bunch of white male, gun-clinging, Christian, heterosexual, homophobic, sexist bigots. That's what the left would have us believe, that our great ancestors, and our great forebears, the heroes of our past, should all be condemned because they do not live up to the standards of the left. Because no one can, not even the left themselves.
And who knew that they come from such evil stock since their own I mean,
hating your parents, okay? This was what the 60s was about. Let's all hate our parents. And therefore, because we hate our parents, let's hate America. And while we're hating America and hating our parents, let's hate God too.
Well, shouldn't liberals also hate themselves since before 1994, just 20 years ago? None of them were talking about, I don't recall a single article by Richard Cohen talking about the urgency of gay marriage. I didn't see a single article by Maureen Dowd in 1994 talking about baking a cake for a gay marriage. And I did not see a single member of Congress, from Nancy Pelosi to Charles Schumer, arguing that if you believe marriage was a man and a woman, you are a bigot and just should be shunned. How is it? So isn't it partially hating ourselves?
Well, in the 2003 Lawrence v. Texas decision that struck down state sodomy laws, in his dissent from this, Antonin Scalia pointed out that it had only been 17 years since Bowers v. Hardwick upheld state sodomy laws, and that the opponents of it had spent 17 years constantly trying to get it overturned. But 17 years is a short time in the history of the nation, and as rapidly as we have seen the cultural left's agenda change, that tells us that 20 years from now, what are they going to be advocating for? Because it's not as if the gay rights groups are going to just say, okay, we've got gay marriage, let's fold up shop and go home. Okay, let's stop taking contributions. Let's stop sending out mailings and stuff like this. The Southern Poverty Law Center, for example, has collected over $150 million to, quote-unquote, fight hate. Okay, there's less hate than ever, and yet the Southern Poverty Law Center keeps coming up with new hates to identify out there, and it gets to the point that the Family Research Center ends up being targeted by a gun-wielding madman because of that. But hey, I gotta go, man.
All right, I won't ask you about.
I gotta get a sandwich.
Okay, there's one last question, and then I can let you go. What does it say about the fact that the same state's court that by 4-3 10 years ago gave us gay marriage, this week upheld the right of men to take upskirt photos?
Upskirt photos in Massachusetts. Yeah, I mean, Massachusetts needs to change its state motto to the upskirt state.